Good morning. My name is Ago P. Dalizo and I'm a volunteer community organizer and part of the Justice for Filipino American World War II Veterans. In 10 days' time, May 15, 2013, I will be flying to DC together with other volunteers from New York and Virginia to play active witness to two historical undertakings. Number one is the filing of a lawsuit against the Department of Veterans Affairs by Filipino veterans. And number two is the start of U.S. congressional lobbying for a bill that would provide complete recognition and complete compensation for the Filipino World War II vets. Now, let me show you this. A month ago, in time for the celebration of the Bataan Death March anniversary, two bills have been introduced in the House. In the one with Representative Jackie Spear and 31 other representatives who support full recognition. And there's another one, this time in the Senate, introduced by Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz. And two other senators eventually co-sponsored him, one from Alaska and the other one from Hawaii as well. The aim of this bill is to finally give them full compensation, full recognition, and to be totally at par with other American veterans, including those foreign nationals who are regarded anyway as American veterans. That include the French, the British, Australians, Canadians, and the other 65 nationalities who fought under the U.S. flag during the same war. Now, a bit of a history here. 250,000 Filipinos were commissioned by President Roosevelt during World War II. And they were promised that after the war, they're going to be treated in the same manner that American veterans are treated, meaning they're going to be given full recognition and full compensation. Now, realize that these people were drafted, they were commissioned, and they did not volunteer as members of the U.S. Army. Filipinos worked side by side with their American counterparts. They all reported to General MacArthur, and they defended an American territory in Asia against a common enemy. And the promise was done by the U.S. government. So in short, the moral burden to actually fulfill its promise belongs to the U.S. Congress. Everybody knows now about what happened in Bataan Death March. Side by side, Filipinos and Americans, they starved, they were bombarded, they were tortured, but side by side though, they fought for the freedom of this nation. Now the sad part is, right after the war, the U.S. Congress enacted the Rescission Act of 1946, which actually denied the Filipinos full benefits and full recognition out of the 66 nationalities who fought under the U.S. flag. Had the U.S. Congress actually disqualified, say, 10 nationalities, or 15, or even 3, then we can't say that the Filipinos were discriminated. There could have been another reason for that. But for you to single out a certain nationality is just totally morally unfair. Back in 2009, there was a bill that gave the Filipinos recognition as American vets. So in a way, the Rescission Act was partly rescinded. However, this bill came up with several flaws. The bill was known as the Filipino Veterans Compensation Act of 2009. And just as a synopsis, 4 points were mentioned there which are really controversial for us. Number one is the use of Missouri as a sole basis of eligibility. Number two, most widows were denied. Number three, disparity of benefits between a veteran that is US-based versus somebody who is Philippine-based. And lastly, the surrender of benefits, future benefits, upon the acceptance of the lump sum benefit. We're gonna do it one by one now this time, just to further clarify what the issue was. Essentially, as an effect of the Rescission Act, we've created two veterans then. One is a full American veteran and the other one is half recognized with half benefits. On my right here, you're gonna see Dr. Brown. He died at the age of 105 and he just passed away 2 years ago. He was a recognized hero. He fought valiantly during the war. He was actually a Bataan Deathmatch survivor. However, if you look the one on my left, and that is Mr. Regalado Baldonado, who is currently the Commissioner for Veterans Affairs in San Francisco. He fought in the same war. He valiantly defended the American territory. And for that, he was given citizenship back in 1992, and he was actually given certain medals by the same office. However, 3 years ago, he was denied of the lump sum benefit because the Missouri said that he was not part of the official list. So the next question is, how could there be two sets of veterans having two sets of benefits when in fact they just fought at the same war at the same time? Now, going back again to the Missouri list. We know for a fact that the Missouri list was gutted down in a fire back in 1973. The Missouri list, which is otherwise known as the National Personal Record Center, holds the list of the U.S. Army personnel from 1912 to 1960. And when it was gutted down in fire, as much as 80% of the original list were lost. So what we're having right now is simply a reconstructed list. So just imagine this is a reconstructed list, and nobody should be surprised then that out of the 41,000 Filipinos who applied for the lump sum benefit in 2009, only 18,000 were approved and 24,000 were denied of the benefits. And from all indications, you're going to see the Missouri list as a list that is incomplete, arbitrary, and flawed. Now, part of the flaw of the FDEC as well is the fact that most of the widows were denied of full benefits. How could we ever deny the widows when in fact we provide full benefits to the widows of American veterans, including the widows of the French, British, Australian, Canadians who fought side by side and under the command of the U.S. Army. Even some of the survivors to this day of the Civil War, 167 years after it ended, are still receiving benefits from DVA. And again, one of the provisions from the Filipino Veterans Equity Compensation was that there was a disparity between the benefit of somebody who is US-based versus somebody who is Philippine-based. Are we not somehow violating the U.S. constitutional provision for equal protection? And it is one of the key points why a lawsuit is being filed now in the Supreme Court, which will be finalized in the next few days. Hence, we've been asking the constituents, we've been asking the U.S. Congress to introduce, to pass, and definitely support the Filipino Veterans Fairness Act of 2013. The first attempt at actually providing full equity started even way back in 1991. Partial benefits have been given left and right, here and there, but that does not in any way constitute full recognition and full compensation. It's been 67 years. It's been too long, and this is long overdue. If we are to close this dark chapter of history, then we have to come to the understanding that we simply have to recognize people who have served this country. Full recognition, full compensation, and justice for the Filipino World War II veterans and their families. I'm going to stop here for a while, and we're going to have some few questions, and of course some answers that are commonly being asked when we do the lobbying in the U.S. Congress.
So, Ago, here is my question.
Okay, we'll start.
With regards to budget, given the budgetary constraints, where do you expect the U.S. Congress to get the money for benefits?
Well, to start with, what the veterans are asking for the compensation is not even a retroactive payment from 1946 to today. They're just asking for the balance of their lifetime, meaning they're asking for the benefits after the enactment of the law. And if you're looking at an average age of 91, 92, you're not actually looking for the next 10 or 15 years to get any benefits. Realistically, you're just looking 1 to 2 years at the most. And even if the widows get something, it's usually half of the original amount that is given to a couple, a veteran and a wife. Now, regarding the amount, the benefits that we ask for is less than 1% of the total budget of the Department of Veterans Affairs. The DVA in 2008 was able to provide $62 billion at the height of the recession. Back in 1944, even with a negative 12% growth, the government was able to provide full benefits. Now, if the government can provide benefits to the typical American veterans, why couldn't they afford the same treatment to the Filipino vets?
Okay, the political climate. Given the political differences between Republicans and Democrats, what are the chances of the bill getting passed?
It's always an uphill battle. I mean, it's the way we did it in World War II. We fought hard, we definitely sacrificed, but in the end, we hope that we're gonna succeed. Now, the main point is, and I said this one 5 minutes ago, the U.S. government drafted these veterans to the war. The veterans never volunteered. It was the government who actually pushed them. And of course, the veterans gladly accepted it. Now, the moral burden actually belongs to the U.S. government to fulfill that promise, regardless of political bickerings.
Okay, so the Philippine documents. Some legislators do not want to honor the Philippine documents as basis of eligibility. So what do you say?
What's the rationale for not honoring the Philippine documents? If you're even okay to accept the Missouri list, which is riddled with so many human errors, with so many inconsistencies, why wouldn't you accept the Philippine documents? We know for a fact that 80% have been lost. So somehow many people in the list were lost. The intention of the bill right now is actually to be very, very inclusive. Accept the Missouri list, commonality, citations, references, Philippine documents, any document that would prove that they serve the United States. And that's it. The burden again becomes a part of the U.S. Congress to fully serve those who serve.
Okay, so veterans already received the one-time payment of $15,000 or $9,000 benefit in 2009. So why ask for more?
What the veterans got back in 2009 was actually a payment for human suffering. Look at the word. I mean, look at the terminologies that they've used there. It's actually very condescending. But anyhow, it was a payment for human suffering. It was not a full compensation. Still, if you look at the bigger picture here, the compensation is so small. Even if they get paid right now, it will still come as too small and too late. However, we look at the big picture here. It's actually the honor and the honor and dignity that we have accorded to these people who serve. I think that's the main thing. We want to remember the U.S. Congress who made a mistake, but at some point in time have rectified it and willingly recognized the people who have served this country. Again, we're looking for full recognition, full compensation, and that's the only way we're gonna close the issue. I hope I have enlightened you with the issues. Come May 15, 16, and 17, we're looking for your support, and we're also looking for further healthy discussion on this issue for the next couple of years. Greetings from the Filipino World War II veterans, and mabuhay!